increase my, my conversion rate? And, how can I make more money from the same amount of calls, right? So really testing out everything that has to do with automation and AI and follow-ups and, moving data from one platform to the next and creating better lookalike audiences, creating stronger conversions, data in your media buying platforms, right?
Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Earnings Per Call Show, a series dedicated to ambitious marketers looking to scale in the pay-per-call industry. Our goal is to help you with the ins and the outs of media buying, mindset, strategy, and resources that will put you on top of your game and generate the highest earnings per call. I'm Bill Somerville, founder of Insurance Pay-Per-Call Network Policy Buying and the host of the show. Let's get started. Our guest today is Carlos Corona. Yes, that's right. His last name is Corona. And this guy is most definitely a master of scale when it comes to marketing. I personally witnessed him take campaigns from a small dribble of calls to me calling him up and telling him to slow it down because there's just a massive amount of inbound traffic hitting our ring buy accounts. He's got a knack for finding and testing opportunities. Prior to starting up the show, we just had a 15-minute conversation about pet insurance. We were talking about my dog. My wife came home with a flyer for pet insurance, and he's just decided to run it. So we'll have to have another show where we come back and we hear how you did on that, Carlos. And of course, your weekly trainings, man, are always great. I always hear people in the industry talk about the massive amount of value that you're giving on a weekly basis, and just like how you've grown as a marketer over the course of the last year. How are you, man? How are you doing? We'll start with there. There's a lot of questions I want to ask you. How the hell are you? Question number one.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me back in the show. I'm fantastic. But this year, kind of my last name became infamous. So, besides that, everything else is great. I'm doing great. Business is doing great. I really can't complain at all.
That's awesome. That's, in your words, amazing.
Amazing. There you go.
Yeah, the two things that I always love to hear when we're on phone calls, man, is, and I like to note is how many times you say amazing and then also that's crazy.
Yeah, amazing and that's crazy. You got to say it with the Cuban accent, right? Amazing. And that's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
that's how you know if it's something good, it's amazing, or if it's something not good, that's crazy.
Yeah,
We'll have to do like a special. Anyone that can tell us at the end of the show how many times he said that's amazing or that's crazy, like we'll have to have OfferVault kick you guys out something.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna have to do something. Keep count of how many times I say amazing or crazy.
That's it.
Yeah, there's two words you need to know.
That's Dude, so the last time I had you on the show, man, you are our first guest. Thank you so much. It was awesome first show. It was back in December of 2019, and now it's December of 2020, and things have changed a bit.
Most definitely, it's crazy. Most definitely, a lot has changed. So last time we did the show was last year, right? December.
But man, I think it's like right around this time. Either it got released right around this time, or we cut it right around this time and it released in January. I'll have to go back and take a look at it, but right around this time, and everything was quiet. The world was normal. There might have been like some chatter on the wire of like another virus over in China, which is something that never really threw a red flag up for me. It's just like, all right, like there's another virus over there. This happens like once a year, different strain of the flu, not a big deal, not going to touch us, like business as usual. Let's load up on a bunch of conferences. We were spending a shit ton of money just buying up early bird passes to conferences, getting stoked to see all my friends. And then, how the narrative goes, man.
Yeah. So that's something that I really miss, going to conferences. Like this year, I think my last conference was in Chicago back in February. After that, I didn't go anywhere else because the virus, a pandemic.
Yeah.
And as far as paper call, what a roller coaster, right?
Mhm.
It was insane, and some verticals did very good and others did very bad, right?
Mhm.
So I think around February, March, April, May, even June, it was like open enrollment all over again, right?
Mhm.
All the insurance buyers were like, yeah, send me calls. And you're listening to all these calls, and people are pretty much calling and panicking because they don't want to catch the virus. And if they
Right.
do, they want to make sure that they have insurance in place, they have everything in place. So it was like November, December all over again, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure that a lot of paper callers, including myself, did really well during those months. But then you had other verticals that were doing amazing before that they just flatlined it.
Yeah.
Uh, I saw that in the home services, right?
Mhm.
Um, Not so much in the emergency side of things, because when you have an emergency and you need somebody, you're gonna get it regardless. But in other verticals, people didn't want strangers in their house, or things that were a high ticket, they were just going to postpone it because of how the economy was, right?
Sure.
So they were like, you know what, we'll just get those impact windows maybe next year, right? Or we're going to maybe replace the roof later on, right? So there was a lot of verticals that were affected, especially the very high ticket, and as well as things that were not emergency, and they just didn't want somebody in their homes, right? um, Especially with the pandemic going on,
Yeah.
right? Also the travel size, right? The industry, the travel industry, I should say, the cruises, the hotel bookings, the airline bookings, that whole industry, it just flatlined it. And it's picking back up now, right?
Mhm.
But for the most part, it was just horrible. There was no business. So yeah, but then things started picking up again, and now it's doing great. Now it's doing amazing. So I can't really, I can't really complain about it. But it was rough. It was rough. Besides pay per call, I don't know if you. I think I also own a small business in the alternative finance
Yeah.
for for small businesses, and that business was did horrible. Like there was no this whole year been at a loss.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Compared to past years.
What do you think that is? Just the SBA dropping money out of windows and like easy access to government cash?
That and business closing, right? So one of the main people were like that we lend money to were small businesses, restaurants and that sort of business, and their revenue declined this year like never before, and a lot of them just went out of business. So that business is just it didn't do good at all this year. I have hopes that next year will do better,
Yeah.
but we're seeing it as such a big change with this pandemic and the business culture and how business is done in general,
Mhm.
that I was telling my wife, right, that I don't think this is going to go away anytime soon. At least not the mentality of it. It's not going to go away anytime soon, right?
Yeah.
People found out that they can do the same work from home. That now that you can have virtual franchises as far as restaurant, you don't really need a retail storefront. You can just have a commercial kitchen and do deliveries through
Just
apps,
pumping out
right?
delivery orders. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you don't really need to have a brick and mortar store anymore when you can just sell online, right? So
Mhm.
the changes that we're seeing, right, as meetings, right? Before I spent a lot of time going to meetings, you know, lunch meetings, driving back and forth. Now everything is just virtual, like we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
right? So I don't need to go to New York anymore to meet with a buyer. I can just jump on a Zoom and that's it. We get it done, right?
Yeah.
So I think the change, the effects and changes are going to last for a lifetime. I don't think that's going to go away, right? The virus might go away, but I don't think the way of doing business now is going to go away.
I honestly think that what will happen is, at least from business owner standpoint, right? Like a lot of companies are going to want to try to bring their employees back in, and a lot of high level talent won't want to come back in, uh, and they'll be looking for remote positions, right? So some people have just found out that they're just not good at working from home, right? Like I know
Yeah.
we've had some people that have worked for us that just like they're not the at home work type. Like they have a difficult time prioritizing and keeping focus and staying out of trouble at home. I mean, you just heard my dog going nuts when our we call him our third roommate, right? The Amazon guy comes and drops drops another package.
Third roommate.
Yeah. So I get it. Like things have changed dramatically, worldwide. Things have changed like in our businesses, but I've seen you do better and drive more calls throughout this. And I think that's the thing, like with entrepreneurs and with marketers in general. And usually like when you come across people that are in this industry, I'd say like a good 99% of them have a very high level of aptitude, or they're incredibly capable people that can swing on a dime. Even us, like Policy Buying, over a year ago was called a different company. We were doing mortgage lead generation. We ran into some issues. Rates dropped. Most of our funnels were for new home purchases. But when the rates drop to a level where people are crawling through windows to get to realtors and lenders, they don't need to buy leads. The leads are just coming. So
Yeah.
so we had to pivot, right? We had to pivot that back into what we knew before the mortgage, which was insurance. And now we've spun that business up to do well over $1 million in its first year. So it's aptitude, I think. And I think a lot of people in our industry that stay in our industry have that aptitude and realize that, we're in an industry that shifts.
It does. You have to adjust the sail,
Mm-hmm.
It's not always going to be a smooth ride. So sometimes you have to, you might love generating a certain type of calls because
Insurance. We've had this
insurance,
conversation before.
right? You might love generating insurance call, and then open enrollments is up, and you're like, well, what do I do now? So,
Smoke cigars, man.
yeah, you smoke cigars, and you become a beach bum for a while, and then you're like, well, let's get back to work, and then you find something else that you want to do. So yeah, but you have to adjust the sail and the direction that you want to go.
What are you in now, man? What do you got cooking now? I'm seeing, hearing you're generating more volume through your Ringva account now than you probably ever have.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What's going on?
I got a message from Adam about a week ago, just saying like, "Hey, I seen a 42% increase, month after month in your account. Like, what's going on?" I'm like, "Well, I'm just generating as many calls as I can." So what I did, let's start from the beginning, right?
Please.
So what I did is I saw when the whole pandemic started, I saw credit repair that it was going to be the next thing, right?
Mm.
And I'm not saying it hasn't been the thing for previous years, right? But just like you mentioned, right, the rates drop, so now is a perfect time to purchase a new home, or maybe to refinance an outstanding debt, or get an equipment lease, or buy a new vehicle for the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all those things are dependent on credit, right?
Mm.
So I was like, credit repair, I think credit repair is going to be it. So what I did is I taught myself a little bit to hire a programmer to install this, auto dialer for me, right? And because I wanted to control the whole process, I didn't want to outsource my dialing to another company or anything like that, right? So I installed this. I'm like, okay, I need you to train me, so I know exactly how this runs, and if it goes down, I know how to get it back up, right?
Mm.
And once I had that, I was like, perfect. Now let me look at other countries that big American companies have call centers, right? And chances are that there's a lot of people getting laid off, right? So I'm just going to hire that talent, right? So the first place that I started looking at was El Salvador, right? Uh,
Why?
why, right? Here's the why. Well, Microsoft, Expedia, Booking.com, um, and a bunch of other companies, their call center is there,
How did you
right?
find this out, Carlos?
Just research, right?
Okay.
And their call center is there, right? And then two, their currency is US dollar.
Is it really?
Yes.
It's not peso?
No. So I think it's like three countries, maybe more, in South America, Latin America, that have US dollars. One
Well,
of it is,
it does, but they have the what is it, the babosa or babosa? It's just they have one coin that's theirs. It's literally a
yeah,
dollar
just the coin.
coin, and then the
Yeah,
rest is U.S. currency. So you're saying
correct.
El Sal is they don't have their own currency? It's pegged to the U.S. dollar.
I'm not sure about the coin size of them. I don't know if they have their own coin, like like a 20 cent, 25 cent. I don't know about that. But as far as the paper currency is a U.S. dollar. So you have El Salvador, you have Panama, and then you have Ecuador. Those three countries are U.S. dollars, right? So uh, I was like, let me start looking at El Salvador because that's probably going to be my best bet. And they speak English. The people that work in the call center for Microsoft and Expedia and all these companies, they
Mm,
probably speak English better than myself, right?
yeah.
So, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hire agents. They're gonna work from home. I'm not gonna set up a call center over there and nothing like that. They're just gonna work from home,
Okay.
and I'm gonna train them real good, and then I'm just gonna let them love their job, right? I'm not gonna set any things that are gonna make him hate it, right? Because it's gonna be working from home. So I'm gonna give them as much freedom as they want, right?
Mm,
And I'm gonna let them love their job, right? They're gonna enjoy doing this. And the other thing is I'm gonna give them as many hours as they want, right? So there's no cap in how many hours you want to work, right? And I kind of went unconventional in it, and then I hired these people, and I started running credit repair and Facebook, and I started generating, leads and leads and leads. And my lead cost at one point was $1.10, $1.15, $1.20 per lead. That lead, right,
mhm.
then went on automatically using automation, went on to my call center, and my call center will dial that lead, and then we will either sell it on a CPA or on a CPL.
So you hooked it, you did web hook from your Facebook form into your Vici dialer. It
Uh-huh.
there's there, a script opens up, the rep gets it, they qualify it, and then push it back through Ringba.
You got it. That's exactly what I did.
There you go.
So
In the call
then,
center business.
yeah, at that point, I was all about scaling it, right?
Sure.
So, and then I was like, you know what? My agents, they speak Spanish. So let's also run credit repair in Spanish, right? Not just in English, but let's run it in Spanish, right? And then I started monitoring my conversion rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm better off just going the CPA route, right? Uh, than
Okay.
just selling the transfers. And I went the CPA route and it did really good, right? So I was like, okay, this is good, and this is working out. I'm still running that campaign till this date. I still
Awesome.
have the agents. They're still doing their job. I just gave him I gave him off from today. So today's the 23rd, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So 23rd, 24th, 25th. And then next week I told him take off the 30, 31st, and the first. And
That's
it's
awesome.
all paid. And they gave bonuses, and they're just really happy.
And
And
what's a sorry to interrupt you. What's an average hourly cost for a rep in El Salvador?
it's about $4 to $5.
Okay. That's not including telco or anything like that. That's
Yeah.
just hourly wage.
Yeah, just the hourly wage for
All right.
somebody that is
So
bilingual, and and works from home bilingual. Yeah. You can.
comparable to what you would see in the Philippines, but they're on our time zone. They speak Spanish, which is probably the second most popular language in the United States. They understand U.S. culture probably a lot better than what you would see over in the Philippines. And I would imagine, like what I found, like we've hired guys in the Dominican Republic, Santiago. We had a couple guys running a
Mhm.
campaign for us, and what I noticed is that um, just Latin culture was more aggressive on the phones. Like they were more apt to um, hear a consumer and to respectfully rebuttal them and still keep interest and patch over the call versus what we were hearing in our call recordings from the Philippines was just like, I'm not interested. Okay, click.
Yeah, so they are a little more aggressive to make that sale, and also, like you mentioned, the bilingual part is huge,
Yeah.
because as soon as they notice an accent from the caller, or the caller from the agent, and it's a Spanish accent, they will automatically switch to Spanish. And
Mm,
then because of that connection of being their first language,
yep.
the conversion rate is a lot higher, right?
100%.
Yeah, and so I was like, what? And then like you mentioned, they're in the same time zone as us,
Mm-hmm.
so they're very well rested. They're not working overnight. They're ready to rock and roll.
Are these
They
guys usually in like San Salvador? Or are they
Yeah,
in
they're
big
in
cities?
San Salvador, yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, El Salvador is a very small country, right?
Great
So
surf. It's
yeah,
fantastic surf there.
yeah.
Can get a
So
little crazy there, I hear sometimes.
I
But
never been there, so I would I wouldn't know.
yeah, but Christy had a family member who's was over there, and it can get a little wild, is what they said. So they
I
came.
can imagine. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I used to live in Honduras.
Did you really?
Yeah, many years ago. Um, I
Honduras gets a little crazy too, man. Right? El Salvador, Honduras can get
It was really
just
crazy.
some of the narco routes go through there, and it can get a little bonkers, right?
It was crazy. I mean, we had security in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and the driver was armed. Like, yeah, it was crazy.
That's nuts, man. That's a
It
good
was
experience to have, though, I think.
Yeah. I was there for a little over 6 months. So my friend was, hey, you know what? Just you want to move to Honduras for 6 months, and I
Sure.
got this really cool place. You work online, so
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So I went. We moved to Honduras for like 6 months, and it was nice. It was cool. It was different experience. Very humble, very caring, but at the same time, it can be a little bit violent.
Sure. 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 So you're running credit repair, man. Is that bread and butter for you? Would you say that's your largest
No,
game?
no, no. So it started with credit repair. No,
No.
no,
No.
no, no. So it started with credit repair, but then I was like, Uh, then we're, fast forward to, so I made a course in credit repair, and
On that course, it's great.
yeah, so I made a course in credit repair, and I just gave it everything that I did. I just like, look, this is what I did. This is how I did it. And on top of that, this is the buyers that I'm selling the calls to. So you go deal with them directly. I don't even bother me, right? This is how you run it. This is how you do it. This is a programmer who installed my call center. These are the buyers. That's it. Take it and run with it. So that course did really good. I have a few students that are making a lot of money
Nice.
doing credit repair. And then I was like, you know what? Now we're getting close to open enrollment, right? And I had a very tough choice to make. It was either I join the pack and I start generating insurance calls and transfers and, fight till death with the rest of the marketers, right? I'm like gladiator, like whoosh. Or I go my own route and let them, outbid each other, and then I'll do something else. So I guess that the clear choice was just to go my own route.
Yeah, I was gonna get really upset with you. You told me that, so I started generating insurance calls, and I was gonna say, and you didn't sell me any all open enrollment. Like where's this relationship going?
This open enrollment, I did nothing in insurance, absolutely nothing. I just wasn't going to go that route because in my mind, it was going to be a lot of work for a very short time, and then I will have to start all over again, right?
Perfect.
So I'm going to have to get ready with all these lenders, all these ad copies, negotiating, all these prices and payouts. And then it's going to be done. And then I'm going to be like, what do I do? Right. So like, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to go a different route. And I went the travel route.
Okay.
Yeah. So because I saw that everything has started to opening back up.
Yep.
Now people are traveling. People are, going places. The economy is kind of getting back up. And I was like, you know what? And that is the route that I'm going to go, because that is a campaign that I can run 24/7, 365. And I don't have to worry about what's going to be hot next. I'm just going to run this. And then if anything, all I have to worry is about a possible shutdown, right? Sure. If we get shut down again, then, tough luck. But if not, then I'm just going to Usain Bolt, right? I'm just going to run with it. And that's what I did. And it's been doing amazing, right? With capital letters, amazing. So I'm generating, I guess, you've seen it in my Facebook.
Yeah.
Quite a few thousand calls every day, and planning to increase it a lot more, right? So my plan is to keep increasing it as much as I can. And I'm still doing home services and stuff. Sure. It's just not as much as before. But because of what I told you, right? It's like
it's the corona.
Like yeah. So I'm still doing it, just not as much as before. And now I'm just focusing on that, and focusing and a few other plans that I have for next year, right? Trying to pick campaigns that I know that could potentially do well long term, right? And test them out, and then if they do work, then scale them, right? I think as a marketer, I don't like going after what's hot for a short amount of time.
Okay.
Right. Everybody has different ways of doing things, and not one way is right and one way is wrong, right? So me personally, I don't like running campaigns for a short amount of time, right? Just like joining the wave and then doing it like everybody's doing it. Let's do it. I kind of like doing like long term stuff because I feel that they're less work, right? Once you have something running and you optimize it and you get your quality score as high as you can, and you know that, you pretty much know how it works every single day, you can literally not look at your Google account for a whole week and it will still be the same, right?
So let's talk about travel a little bit. If that's where a bulk of the calls are coming from,
Sure.
um, what's what's the media buying strategy there? Is it like your credit campaigns where you're buying a lot of media from Facebook? It's turning into a lead. You're dialing on it in the call center on Salvador. Like, how does how are you making that work on that side?
No, that wouldn't work on Facebook.
Okay,
That has to be all Google, Bing, or search. It's intent. It's not going to work on an affinity marketing. People are. So yeah, that's strictly search,
okay.
right?
So
Um,
you're buying keywords. I mean, are you doing call only ads or like
it's a
what's
combination of both of call only and lander, but
okay?
yeah, it's keyword driven. Yeah, I
Interesting.
can't tell you the keywords, of
Of
course.
course. Well, I mean, if I
But
could stop the recording button, we could. Um, interesting. And this is
yeah,
all.
it's all inbound.
Are you doing along the same lines of like you've generated a course and then you're piping out the intel and affiliates are driving into you as well because I I know.
No, so no. 99% of the traffic is my traffic.
Okay.
Uh, I did start working on a couple case studies.
Okay.
So I brought in a few people and help them develop their own campaign,
Okay.
which eventually I will turn it into a case study. And then maybe down the road, I will turn it into a course and
Sure.
then put it out there. Uh, but if you don't have experience with Google, like I always say, Google can make a grown man cry, right? Because if you don't know what you're doing, you can be you can be in for surprise, right?
Yeah.
So running a campaign in Facebook is pretty simple, right?
Hmm.
It's like using an iPhone, right? Like there's only so much that you can do, right?
Hmm.
Like, but not Google. Google is more like flying a jet, right? If you press the wrong button, you will crash really hard. So, uh, you know, so it's a little bit more advanced when you run campaigns on Google, and I don't think it's suitable for a beginner.
Okay.
Me particular, I don't think that it will be suitable for a beginner uh, getting into this industry and jumping straight on the Google side. Because when you're beginning, when you're doing this, if you lose too much money, you will give up,
Sure.
right? So if you go into Google and you don't know what you're doing, then chances are you're going to lose money, and chances are you're going to say pay per call doesn't work. I'm just going to give up, and I'm going to go the agency route and just charge people retainers and outsource, and whatever the whole everybody else out there, all the online gurus are telling you what to do, right? So
Of
it
course.
will take you some time to learn Google, and once you learn Google, then the sky's the limit. Google is costly. It costs a lot of money to run campaigns in Google. You definitely have to have that financial backup because it's not cheap, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes what I run in a week, it's could be six figures, right?
Wow.
So it's definitely not cheap to buy traffic in that. But once you have it down packed and you have it optimized and you have, your keywords and your match types and your negative keywords and your ad scheduling and your devices and your bid adjustments and all that stuff, once you have that under control, it's an autopilot, right? Like I don't check my campaigns every 15 minutes. I don't check my campaigns every hour, you know. Sometimes I go days without looking at them. As far as Google, right?
No, with
Uh,
like your Google strategy. I mean, I know some people like to start wide and hone in and buy data and trim it down, and some people like to do the opposite, like to trim it down, right, and then open it up, right. Um, with travel, what was your, what was that mindset with your strategy? Was it start wide and hammer down, or start slow and open up?
no, I started wide and then brought it down, right? So you start wide and then you let it run long enough so you can identify the 20% of keywords that are bringing in 80% of your traffic.
Okay.
And once you have that identified, then you can cut out the noise and just concentrate on those keywords, and then concentrate on making landing pages for those keywords, right?
Mm,
So your quality score goes up and you pay less per click, right?
wow.
And then optimizing your page so you have the highest click-through rate and conversion as possible, right? So it definitely takes time
Sure.
doing all that, but once you have it all done, then it's an easy, kind of an easy road after that, right?
Are you
Uh,
collecting lead data as well, or are you just forcing
no,
a page and
well,
then just gearing it all towards mobile so that you can force a phone call?
yeah, just forcing it all through mobile.
Okay.
What I have thought about, I haven't done it yet, but what I thought about is activating the instant caller profile
Yeah.
on Ringba.
Yeah.
Yes, but at the volume that I'm doing, I think my bill will probably, duplicate, double.
Sure.
My bill will double with them, and I'm like, whew, I don't know if that data is going to be worth paying that much for it. In the long term,
It's
yes.
definitely a rainbow conversation to have, man, because we and I know a lot of other marketers were have thought the same thing, and
Mhm.
like the ICP, the TCPA Shield, and all the other secondary services that Ringbo offers on top of their platform. Um, Definitely something I wouldn't live without, right? Like having the TCPA Shield that's activated on top of our Ringbo platform is what helps me get a good night's rest. You know.
Right? Yeah, I know. Uh, I don't have to worry about it with some of the inbound campaigns, like the TCPA Shield
Sure, sure.
really apply. But for the transferring, for the credit repair transfers, I do have it activated, you
Smart.
know,
Yeah.
just to make sure it doesn't end up to my buyer, and then we find ourselves in a demand letter situation, right? So
Yes, those situations. Those
so
situations.
but yeah, but as far as turning on the ICP, I think that it will be very beneficial long term, collecting all that data. I just have to think of a way of how I will monetize it. I know there's data exchanges out there
Yeah.
that you can pretty much just rent your data, right? Become like a data landlord. You just rent
Are
it
you
out to other
involved in
people.
any of those? What are these
Huh?
data exchanges? Are you involved in any of these exchanges?
Yeah, I'm involved in one of them, and I'm looking at another one. They're out of Europe, so I can't pronounce their name. I don't know if I can.
Is it public? Is it a public thing? They got a website and everything. We can
Yeah,
put it.
yeah, yeah,
We can put it in the
yeah.
YouTube video. The under the title there'll be a list of links, and we could throw it in there.
Yeah, I'll send you the name.
Okay.
I can't pronounce it, so I don't want to say the wrong name. But I'll send you the name so you can put it in there. So pretty
Okay.
much you just go through a verification process, and then you can connect the API to your data source, and then you can just rent out your data, right? So
Interesting.
if you're generating, I don't know, whatever it is, then you can just rent it out, right? So
Yeah.
hey, why not make an additional extra income from doing that? So something
So
that I've considered doing, and I should do it.
yeah, man, you're the king of testing. I'm surprised that you haven't yet. See what happens. See if your data gets burnt out. You hand it over them for 5 cents and it just gets absolutely annihilated with text messaging. Then it's probably not good for the consumer experience to do that again. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm afraid of.
what I know we talked about this a little bit before the show got started. What's your tech stack look like right now? Like I know you're using Vici, I know you're probably using Zapier to hook in, but what other SaaS platforms are you using? Ringba, a great platform that PolicyBind uses as well. What does your tech stack look like right now? Like your top five?
So I definitely, Ringba for the call tracking. I also use Twilio
Mm.
a lot, you know,
What are you using
um,
Twilio for?
just automation as far as texting
Okay.
and, call flows of callbacks and things like that. Whenever we call somebody and they miss the call, like the call center is integrated also with Twilio. So there's texting going on, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Zapier, but I switched to Integromat. I don't know if you heard about them
No, why'd you switch?
because of the volume. Zapier can get really expensive.
Sure, sure.
So I was like, you know what? I gotta find something that does kind of like the same
Yep.
at a lower cost, right?
Okay.
And then I switch over to that. Then I'm really testing out different platforms that have to do with AI, right? uh like chat bots, like to initiate a conversation with a lead, right? And trying to pre-warm it or warm it up before the agent gets on the phone, right?
Okay.
So I was actually talking to Adam from DMS.
Okay.
uh they have an AI called Chatmatics. I don't know if you heard about
Oh
him.
yeah, I've heard of Chatmatics before. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was supposed to demo it out to see, how I can integrate it into what I'm doing.
So you just throw it
And
on the websites?
yeah, throw them in our websites
Yeah.
and throw them in landing pages and throw them at the end of a lead capture, right?
Okay.
To kind of, make it work. So we were talking about before this interview, right? We were
Yeah.
talking about really like what tickles my fancy, right? As far as like uh, technology and stuff like that. And I think it's like if you're at the beginning of pay per call, you're really more interested in to find out what works and what doesn't work and what
Mhm.
you can do and what could potentially be the outcome of doing those things. But once you have the ball rolling and you know what you're doing, then you shift your focus and how can I increase profitability, right?
Yeah.
Or how can I increase my conversion rate, and how can I make more money from the same amount of calls, right? So really testing out everything that has to do with automation and AI and follow-ups and moving data from one platform to the next and creating better lookalike audiences, creating stronger conversions, um, data and your media buying platforms, right?
Mm.
So all those things, it's like a maze, right? It's like you know looks like a street in my head, like a street map of all these things that are connecting with each other, and they're moving data from one point to another, right?
Mhm.
Making that stronger. So like for example, today I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he literally has a copy of my landing page, right? Of one of my landing page. Like I told him, like just look, copy my landing page, copy my keywords, copy my negative keywords, right? Copy everything.
It's a good
And
friend.
Yeah, really good friend. And run.
Like childhood friend, like
No, you know, this guy, he's from the UK, and he's very knowledgeable when it comes to Google, right? The
hmm,
guy has done over $100 million in sales, you know, that guy is
wow.
a top notch, right? Very smart. And I was like, you know what, just copy everything that I have, like here, just let's jump in a Zoom call, and I'll even help you set up the campaign, just, you know, and then let's run it. Let's run the campaign. You run it, same campaign that I'm running. You just running it from your account with your credit card, your landing pages, your phone numbers, everything. And he still couldn't perform at the same level that I was performing. So now we're having this conversation. I'm like, you know, you copy everything. I gave you everything, right? Uh, and what it boiled down to is the integration side, right?
Okay. I
What
like
it boiled,
how so?
this, for example, something that a lot of people take for granted, your hosting account, right?
Okay.
How fast or how slow is your hosting account, right? That has to do a lot with your performance. Because if you're sending a lot of traffic to your landing page, you definitely don't want to be in a GoDaddy, you know, share account or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to perform you know, to the level that it should, right? So that was the main thing, right? Then, you know, do you have your do you have everything connected? You know, do you have the webmaster tools? Do you have your analytics connected? Are you passing back data from Ringbot to your Google Ads account, right? Are you tracking conversions in both sides, right? Are you optimizing, or I should say, are you dynamically optimizing your landing page based on the keyword search and the page title and all these little things, right?
Yeah.
And the answer was no. I'm like, all right, there you go. You literally have a copy of my campaign, keywords and all. And the only difference is the automation and integrations in my digital property and in your digital property. And that right there, you know, for example, my some of my keywords, the quality score is like 8 out of 10. And then for the same keywords in his campaign, it was like a 1 out of 10, right?
Because this so
It's huge, right?
for high volume sites, man, who do you recommend to use for hosting? Do you just put it right on Google or Google
So
Cloud or
I use a managed hosting company called Cloudways. I
okay?
don't know if you heard about them.
I
So
haven't. We have ours up on Google Cloud. We just threw everything up there.
so Cloudways is a managed hosting. So pretty much once you sign up with them, you can choose who your actual hosting provider is going to be.
Okay.
So there you have like DigitalOcean, Linode. You also have Google Cloud, AWS, um, Volter, right?
Mhm.
So you have different hosting that you can choose from.
Okay.
Uh, it just managed. So I use Cloudways, and it's pretty much the fastest that I've seen when it comes to hosting like a WordPress site, right?
Cool. We'll throw a link.
Yeah, throw that link in there because before I was using like, you know, like HostGator
Yeah.
and and Bluehost and all that stuff, and I noticed a huge difference. I noticed an incredible difference in loading speed and stuff like that.
Jeez.
And you know, somebody clicks on it, if they're on Wi-Fi, it's okay because usually the page will load pretty fast. But if you're out and about and you're running, you know, internet from your cell phone carrier, and your website's slow, they're just going to go back and jump to the next result on the search page, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to wait for the page to load. They were like, oh, this is not working, go back, next, right? So you want to be as fast as you can, and a lot of people don't pay enough attention to the hosting account that they're using. right? So
What about WordPress themes? Like, do you have one that you
yeah,
like to use for your call only pages?
yeah, I use one that is so simple. I mean, it's crazy how simple it is. Right? It's called Neve. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It was Neve. Yeah, that's it.
That's
There's
it.
nothing else. Right? Yeah, that's it.
I was waiting for something else. So Neve.
No,
Okay, we'll put that in the link too. So
yeah,
and what you just throw a little bit of content on it and a phone number and
already has all this pre-made templates. I just choose the one that usually I choose the first one because
because it's the
um
first
yeah, it's just the first, boom.
first one.
I'll
That'd be
change
the
it around
best.
a little bit. uh and then change it around a little bit, throw my logo and then integrate it. So WordPress, I definitely recommend the SEO kit from Google, the Google SEO kit. It's a must. So you can install, your Google Search Console in there, your webmaster tools, your
Mhm.
analytics, your page insight and all that stuff. So you can have it there. And if you're focusing on SEO, then you can install some of those SEO um, plugins and stuff like that. I just never been into SEO myself, right?
Yeah, you're
Um,
a media guy. That makes
yeah,
sense.
I mean, I know that it works, and I know that it works out very well for some people.
Mhm.
It's just, you're buying media. It's like throwing, jet fuel to a fire, right?
What about do you add any like power ups or add-ons to your WordPress site for load speed? I know you said that's a super important one for you. I know that there's a ton of packs to that compress images and do all that other stuff, but if the theme is fast already, then I guess it's probably already compressed.
So all my images are compressed before I even load them up to WordPress.
Okay.
So I use a website called Tiny PNG. It's like a little panda. I don't know if you've seen it before.
A what?
Like a panda, like a little panda logo.
Panda.
Yeah, like a panda bear.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's called Tiny PNG, I believe.
Okay.
And I run all my images through there first.
Okay.
Compress them, and then I'll bring into my WordPress, and then in my WordPress I will install uh, another, another plugin. One that I use is called Breeze, like Ocean Breeze.
Ocean breeze. Okay.
Yeah, it's not called Ocean Breeze, but like Breeze, that's what it's called.
Great. Cool.
Uh,
Oh,
so I
breeze.
use that
Breeze.
one to compress all the JavaScript and all the images, all the CSS and HTML and all that good stuff, just to kind of have it, as fast as possible. And then from my mindset, right? My mindset, I'm from the school that less is more, right?
Okay.
So I like to keep things very clean, very simple, bright colors, the main colors like, blue, red, white, blacks, just so it
You like
stands
a
out.
lot of content or a little bit of content, like high
Just,
quality, low amount of content on the page, a lot of space on the page.
yeah, just bite size of content. I don't really put a lot of content. I just put enough content that you can read it within a few seconds, right?
Okay.
If it's
You
too
doing privacy policies and about
Yeah,
us.
of course, you definitely need privacy policies about all that good stuff, right? But as far as content in the landing pages, you just want to have mostly bullet points or very, very small blurbs that
Mm,
tells you what is it about, right?
okay.
Uh, you don't want to go into a very long copy that is going to take 2, 3 minutes to read,
Yeah. No one's
because
gonna read
unless you're doing research, nobody got time for that.
it.
Yeah, who's
No,
going to read?
no, yeah, I get it. Yeah, speaking of research, I meant to ask you this too, because you're looking at. I know that the Google update. I guess that happened around March, where they changed the search terms report a bit, where it's just showing you like the bigger search terms that consumers are coming through, and kind of cut out some of the smaller ones that you could still monetize, but just on a lower level. Has
Mhm.
that thrown you off at all? still love using the search terms report? Did you feel the bite on that or not?
Not much. I concentrate not on, at first I try to have as many search terms as possible, right? And as many ad groups as possible. Years ago, I used to do like single keyword ad groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in
Skags.
my mind, that was like the best thing to do. And then I start noticing that it was really not the best thing to do.
Good, a lot less work.
Yeah. So it was grouping, 5 to 6 keywords in the same ad group that were very close to each other, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and that performed a lot better. So I do all my research using the Google keyword planner, right?
Really? So you're not using SpyFu or like any of this like high speed stuff?
No, and I have SEMrush. I don't even know why I pay for it. Matter of fact, I have to cancel it. But
Sorry, SEMrush. My bad.
I don't even know why I use it. Look, if anybody's going to tell me what people are searching, is going to be Google.
Yeah.
Like they, who else but them is going to tell me like the truth, right? Like what
Yeah.
people are searching for in Google. So I just use a keyword ads planner. I don't use anything else. It's a waste of time. I just go in there, type in whatever keywords I'm interested in. It's gonna give me the recommendations to the right. I go in there, then I go to my planner. It's gonna break it down into ad groups for me. I just click create a new campaign. Boom, done. Right?
Done. That's easy.
Do it in 10 minutes. And
Easy.
other than trying to figure it out and then putting into different ad groups and doing all this stuff, I'm like, no. That's crazy. let's go the easy route.
That is not amazing. That is crazy.
Yeah, let's go the easier. Just go here. They're going to tell you what it is. They're going to group it for you. Then just move it over and run the campaign. Let it run for a few and then start eliminating, because profitability in Google is all about your negative keywords, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't understand that, right? But negative keywords is what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to cut out the things that are not going to convert, and you want to focus on the keywords that are going to convert, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes my negative keyword list is a lot bigger than my actual, search keywords.
What about IVRs, Carlos? You use that to throttle?
Yeah, I use IVRs, and you know what? In some of these campaigns, you have to deal with spammers.
Okay,
right?
sure.
And they're a pain in the neck. I don't know why. It just get me in a bad mood just talking about them. But you have to deal with spammers. So sometimes you have to create IVRs that are simple enough and complex enough, if that makes sense. So I have IVRs that they're simple in the user experience, right? But they're complex in how the call gets routed, right? So I look at things such. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Example. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm like simple but complex. I'm like,
Yeah. So for example, I look at things such as your ISP provider, right? First of all, if you're buying media and you're running traffic to a landing page, you should definitely have number pools installed in your landing page. I mean, like if you don't have your number pools installed, what are you doing? Right? Like, yeah, that's like wearing shoes with no socks, right? Like, what are you doing?
gross. Especially in Miami, it's gross. You're gonna ruin them shoes real quick. They're gonna be stinking, smelly.
Correct. So you should definitely have number pools. So when you have your number pools, then your IVRs can get more complex, right? So you can look at things such as, like your ISP, right? And your IP address, right? And a whole bunch of other things, right? And usually, and I don't want to give too much away because I don't know if it's spammers going to watch this or not.
Hmm.
But usually everything that is systematic follows a pattern,
Hmm.
right? So if you know what you're doing, you will be able to identify those patterns. And that's how you will kind of block them, right? Yeah. So you will do it in certain ways that, if the call is coming in from a T-Mobile iPhone, they can bypass the IVR, right?
Hmm.
If the call is coming in and I don't know where it's coming in, they'll have to go to like 2-3 steps worth of,
A little extra.
gathering
Yeah.
before they get to the end buyer, right?
Yeah.
So it's just by using that data and make it life easier, right? Uh, so yeah, I do use IVRs, and I
Yeah.
learned my lesson, a while ago, not using IVR and just floating the call center with like 600 calls in a matter of minutes.
Did you
It's
get
like,
the
stop,
Russian
stop.
guy? There's like a Russian spammer that comes through that just is like, it's like a mix of American and Russian words, and it's like yelling about
Well, yeah, I got the F
call.
this, F that, and you're gonna pay, and it's just a recording, right?
Hmm.
That you get him, and then you get the blank calls that is just blank. The agent is like, hello, 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 and it's just blank, right? Uh, and now they're just getting frustrated, so they're manually dialing, and bypassing the IVRs manually. So what a waste of time.
Right? Some people, they got too much time on their hands.
Right, and then it's funny because it's mostly competitors that will do that, whatever. I guess they think there's not enough calls for everybody, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, it was awesome to have you on the show today. I know that you got a bunch of other meetings. I wanna cut you loose for those, man. Parting
No problem.
advice for anyone. Um, I was gonna say, I'm gonna tee this one up for you, man. I was gonna say, like, hey, is there any like groups out there that you like that are good for affiliate marketers? Bink, bink. Your group is fantastic, man. Tell
Thank
tell people where they can get to your group. I love your group. I have you starred. I don't know if people know that they can do this on Facebook, but I highly suggest that you do. When somebody makes a post, in the top right hand corner of their post, there's 3 dots. You can click those 3 dots and you can add the person posting to your favorite people. Carlos is definitely in real life and virtually one of my favorite people
thank
on on Facebook. I have him as a favorite person, so that when he makes a post, uh, it's usually filled with so much value or direction. Like I want it to pop up first on my feed. Definitely do that with Carlos if you're not friends with him on Facebook. And then he also has a group.
That's how I get all the likes. I had no idea. I thought that you were always on Facebook.
No, it would seem like that, just like staring, waiting for you to make a post. No, actually, it's queued up. You and some other guys in the industry that are just good dudes that throw out a ton of value and are looking for nothing in return other than for it to stimulate the thought process so that other people can throw more value in. I know that's the type of guy that you are and the type of
Yeah.
group that you run. How do people get a hold of you? How do they get to your
Thanks, man.
to like tell them
I
the guys?
truly appreciate it, and it means a lot. So thanks for that. So I have a private group that, obviously that's where I share like a lot of, uh, good stuff. And then I also have a free group that I do share, tons of information and just as much. And that one is called Pay Per Call Secrets. So it's Pay Per Call Secrets.
The private group or the public?
That is my public group,
Okay.
and I share tons of information there, and I open it up so other people also can share information, all about pay per call.
Hmm.
And definitely check it out, join it, and I'll be more than happy to help you and share as much as I can. I honestly, I'm a firm believer that pay per call is like the next frontier in digital marketing,
Hmm.
and I wish some more people were doing it, right? Uh, So I guess that my end goal is I just want to see more people do this for a living. Um, because there's so much money out there. Like not one person is going to be able to supply the whole market demand. That's just insane to think of that, right? So just share it. It's always that I normally say this to other people, like if you if you were a great basketball player, right? Will you teach other people how to play basketball, or you wouldn't teach other people how to play basketball? Of course, you will teach them how to play basketball so the sport can grow, right? It
Mhm.
will be insane to be like, no, I don't want to teach you because I want to just be the best basketball player there is. That's it,
No one
right?
want to play basketball.
Exactly. So that's how I see pay per call, right? And then, I just want to teach so other people can do it, right? And then just don't give up. Like, you're going to make some mistakes. It's normal. Just keep on doing it. Keep on getting better and making this your priority. And you're going to see results that are amazing, so amazing results. That's
Amazing results.
yes, it's life shocking, the amount of income that you can make from doing pay per call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely, and the amount of consumers that you can help too, right? Usually,
Oh yeah.
if somebody is, people don't like to get on the phone, right? They like to text, they like to email, they like to message. I don't want to talk on the phone. You decline. Somebody has such a burning desire for your product or service that they're willing, to call a phone number that they don't know and spend time online with who knows who's going to pick up on the other end. It means they need help, and I truly believe that that pay-per-call marketing has the biggest impact on the consumer segment as a whole, because
Yeah.
it is most of the time there's so much confusion on what they're seeing online or what's coming in their mailbox, or what other types of marketing that have hit them that just not properly explaining it, that they have to get on a phone call with someone, they have to speak to a subject matter expert. So it's, I feel like the reason why there is a lot of money in the industry is because there's a lot of value that we can provide to consumers. And I'm a firm believer, if you see somebody driving a Ferrari down the street, 99% of the time, it's going to be someone that's generating a massive amount of volume for people, that have resources.
Yeah.
And if the other 1% of the time, look, it's a South Beach Trust Fund kid, and they're out there, but most of the Ferraris are going to be owned by people that are doing a good service to.
Of course. It's a Skype. You know,
No, we're
calling
we're up, man.
calling back to the duties. But yeah, I definitely. I think that when it's important, you're gonna call somebody, and when it's not that important, you're just gonna like kind of like not do it, right? So you're
Yeah,
gonna text them or email them, or I'm not saying that those things are not, but if you need to get something done, you're gonna jump on the phone,
a
right?
text or an email is a way to generate a phone call.
Yeah, correct. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about getting life insurance, right? I'm sorry, pet insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm not sure if you're gonna pick up the phone and dial it, because I think that's a process that you can do just on your computer, right? Click, 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 done, right?
I don't know,
But
man. Check this out. The best is waiting for you. Get a quote today. Pretty sure that's a 1-800 number there.
there you go, right? Great. But if you need something that is right away, you're gonna pick up that. That's something that it cannot be substituted as that human connection, right?
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
of talking to another human. As much as we teach a AI or a computer to mimic, that they don't even come close.
They don't, for
Yeah.
sure. Brother, thank you so much again for your time.
Appreciate it.
Find him on Facebook. Find him on the Paper Callers group. Find him on the first interview we did last year, compare it to this year, and you can just see, you know, like he's still got the same smile, but just, you know,
Longer beer.
bigger.
Yeah.
And the amount of knowledge that he's been sharing has been a lot more, a lot different too on this episodes than it was on the first. So ton of growth, dude. So glad to know you and have offline chats with you, man. And thanks again for everything.
Hey, thanks. I don't know if I can say this to close it out, but I'm going to be doing next month a 10-day paper call challenge.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to tell you about it. I'm sorry.
We'll put the link in the YouTube description. Tell us a little bit about it. Yeah, sure, man.
So, and it's 60-second elevator pitch. This is how it's going to go. For 10 days, 1 hour a day, I will jump online on a live call, right? On Zoom or Google Meet or whatever it is. 1 hour a day for 10 days, and we're going to go from absolutely nothing to running a profitable campaign.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's free. You can just do it for free. And it's a 10-day paper call challenge. So I'm going to be doing it next month, just to show you, you know, from how I start all the way to day number 10. That by then, you know, it should be profitable. I'm not saying you're going to make, you know, $1 million on day number 10, but but
that would be super amazing.
It will be super. It will be crazy if you miss it out. All right.
That's awesome, dude. I'll get a link for you, man. We'll throw it, you know, in the description of the YouTube video. And again, brother, thank you.
Thank you. All right, man. Take care. Bye.